Hey everyone, Dr. Jess here. I am here today to talk to you a little bit more about testing accommodations and extending time. So we've talked a little bit about extending time in like your more typical situations, right? Like how to do it on Canvas, settings to watch out for, and then what does it really mean, right? But I wanted to get into the nitty-gritty of various testing environments that we might actually offer in our classes, right? So here's a couple scenarios, and then we'll talk through those scenarios, right? One is copious amounts of time available in the first place, right? Like a 1 hour test with like um a 1 week window to take, right? One is a test where then we do a review at like a time fixed point in the future. And there's so many more, right? There's always different ways that we test. Sometimes there's tests that are open book, open notes, open calculator, memory aid. Sometimes it's none of these. Sometimes it's all of these. Sometimes it's an iterative process where we come back to it a couple of times and it's scaffolded, right? We're teaching predominantly first gen learners, and so many of us have these amazing inclusive practices built into our courses. And so as we have those, then how do we modify and adjust those when it comes up for our students with testing accommodations related to additional time, right? Um, and another one I see often is like really, really short quizzes, right? So for instance, let's say we have a 7 minute quiz. Even if there's time and a half, it's a really short amount of time still. So you may see testing accommodations that say things like um time and a half, except for quizzes under 15 minutes long, in which case it's 3 times. Because some of our students, they may really be driven to distraction by that testing anxiety. Sometimes they may really, we might have students who have an accommodation such as access to a dictionary, right? So if they're looking up words and they have test anxiety and they're a qualified student with a disability, that extra 2 minutes and change may not necessarily get them over the top for their really, really short quizzes in the same way it might for a test. So you may even see testing accommodations of different additional times based on the initial starting time. Okay, so unique condition number one. Unique condition number two. Let's say that we have a really, really long test, right? Where it's like this test opens from Sunday to the next Sunday. Um, so that's amazing. And that is a very universal way to design your class. And if there's a start time and an end time of a week, then we want to work with you to support you in doubling any start and end time for instance, a student who might have double time on their tests, right? Now, um, there can be challenges associated with that. I mean, 2 weeks is a really long time, right? So this is where we're here to get into conversations of support with you, right? Um, I've seen faculty members really take advantage of the opportunity and reflect and go, does it need to be a week long? Do I really want it to be a day long anytime within a week? And it's just available to start for a day long anytime within a week. And then I'll make it 2 days for the student who has 2 times, right? So there's different ways of getting at the same thing. There's always a million ways to get at the same thing. And so um, we're here to support you and your vision for your class and your learning objectives. Okay. Um, so that's one that can come up. And then the other one is like scaffolding and like those formative um opportunities related to testing, right? So sometimes there's a test review, and that's at a really fixed point in the class. Sometimes there are projects built on doing the test review. Sometimes there's, just the regular pacing of a course. So as that comes up, talk to us, right? ssd@csusb.edu. Just talk to us. We're going to help walk alongside you in this journey any way that we possibly can. And that's the only thing that we're here for, right? So let's say that you have time constraints or that you do a review at a certain time. Sometimes we might work with you to go, okay, if we can't go forwards, can we open earlier for the student, right? How can we get the student access to while also meeting the language of the accommodation? So again, it's kind of like looking at the ingredients of a cake, figuring out what's on the shelf, and then baking a cake based on the ingredients that's there. But I want to assure you, as long as we work together with an open heart and an open mind, we can always find a solution. We can find a door or window in any wall that you feel like you might be encountering with this. Talk to us early, talk to us often, and give us a chance to support you in all of the amazing ways that you're supporting your students. So anyways, those are a couple of unique testing situations that I can think of, and a couple ways to a couple opportunities to have conversations with us, and kind of when to know when to have a conversation with us so that we can navigate it with you, right? You may see these things when they come up in testing contracts. Similarly, proctoring exams, right? It might ask you, are you proctoring the exam? Are we proctoring the exam? Check those boxes carefully. If you don't know what they mean, or you're like, I am super overwhelmed by all of this, call us, email us, we'll walk you through it. But really and truly, the purpose of all of that is just to make sure that we reflect your testing environment and that we're doing what you would be doing. So I really look forward to working with you on this and anything that you need. Thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks.